Imagine standing here on a damp cobblestone street in London in the year 1888. The air is thick, carrying the weight of a city in the midst of the most profound transformation in human history. This is not the romanticized past of grand balls and polite society. This is a metropolis of 5 million souls, where the relentless pulse of industrial progress beats against the stark reality of human endurance. Today, we will use the precision of historical evidence and the clarity of modern technology to rebuild this vanished world. We will walk its streets, understand its rhythms, and witness the raw and varnished truth of a capital caught between the old world and the new dot. We find ourselves at a pivotal moment. London is the heart of a globe-spanning empire and the undisputed workshop of the world. For nearly a century, the Industrial Revolution has been reshaping every facet of life, drawing hundreds of thousands from the countryside and across continents to its promise of work. The city has swollen beyond its medieval confines, a sprawl of brick and smoke. Yet this growth has a dark twin: extreme social inequality. Our reconstruction is built upon a foundation of historical maps, parliamentary reports, census data, the accounts of journalists and reformers, and the vivid testimonies of art and literature. Every visual detail you will see is grounded in this evidence, from the color of the fog to the construction of a carriage. This is not fantasy. It is a careful, reasoned visualization of a world we have lost. Let us begin our arrival at the city's edge and move inward. As we approach from any direction, the first sign is not the skyline, but the atmosphere. A distinctive colored haze hangs over the basin of the Thames. In the morning, it may appear as a thick white mist, but with the lighting of hundreds of thousands of coal fires, it transforms. It becomes a pungent yellow, irritating the throat and eyes. By midday, the continued outpouring from domestic chimneys and industrial stacks deepens the hue to a sooty brown. And at the heart of the city, it can be a rusty, impenetrable black. This is London's infamous Pea-Souper, a chemical fog born of smoke and mist. Writers and artists were captivated by this spectral light. The French painter Claude Monet, who visited just over a decade later, would call London's fog its mysterious cloak, and he meticulously recorded its chromatic effects, the mauves, greens and purples that danced in the attenuated light. This is our constant companion, softening edges, muffling sound, and casting an otherworldly pall over the scene. Crossing into the city proper, we are immediately swallowed by sound and motion. The primary arteries are a chaos of purpose. The clatter of iron-rimmed wheels on granite sets is incessant. Here is the heartbeat of Victorian mobility, the horse-drawn omnibus. These large-sprung vehicles, many with an open upper deck, are the workhorses of public transit, carrying clerks, merchants, and citizens along fixed routes. They compete for space with the more agile hansom cab, a two-wheeled carriage offering private hire, and everywhere there are carts, wagons, and drays hauling the raw materials and finished goods of an empire. The smell is a complex tapestry: coal smoke, horse manure, the faint temps of ammonia from stables. And, as we move east, the more pungent odors of industry and overcrowded humanity. The sidewalks teem with people of all classes. City gentlemen in top hats navigate around street vendors hawking pies, flowers, and matches. This is a city perpetually in motion, fueled by cheap labor and burgeoning trade. To understand the true nature of 1888, we must turn away from the broad thoroughfares and into the warren of streets in districts like Whitechapel, in the East End. The change is abrupt. The buildings press close, their brick-stained black by soot. The air feels heavier here, carrying what one contemporary chronicle described as the smell of putrefying night soil and the activities of noxious trades. This is home to the working poor and the destitute, a population swollen by successive waves of immigrants fleeing famine in Ireland and persecution in Eastern Europe. Housing is a crisis. Entire families cram into single rooms for cooking, eating, and sleeping, often sharing beds or lying on the floor. Windows are patched with rags, and the damp, cold conditions are a breeding ground for disease. In these courts and alleys, life is a precarious hand-to-mouth existence. Work is casual, doled out daily at the docks or in small, cramped workshops known as sweatshops for trades like tailoring and bootmaking. Children are not spared, employed for a few pence in dangerous trades. For those who fall through the cracks, the dreaded workhouse looms. In these conditions, many sought escape in the cheap gin readily available in the countless pubs and music halls of the East End. It is a cycle of poverty, poor health, and despair that proved difficult to break. This human cost was the direct price of the industrial machine that powered London's wealth. If we follow the river or the railway lines, we encounter the landscape of that machine. The sprawling factories, foundries, and warehouses. One of the most potent symbols is the match factory. In 1888, the largest was in Bow, employing over 5,000 people, mostly young women. Inside, the work was grueling and perilous. The matches were dipped in white phosphorus, a cheaper but toxic compound that caused phossy jaw, a horrific condition where the bone of the jaw would necrotize and die. Workers were paid by piece rate and fined for minor infractions like lateness. The factory system, regulated by a series of factory acts dating back to 1833, had improved conditions from earlier in the century, limiting hours for women and children and mandating some education. Yet, as the Matchgirls' experience shows, the battle for dignity and safety was ongoing. Their strike in the summer of 1888, sparked by terrible conditions and organized with the help of activists like Annie Besant, would become a landmark moment for the labor movement. This is the era's central tension, monumental progress built upon the back of profound human struggle. The social chasm created by industry was vast. A short journey west to districts like Mayfair or Kensington reveals a parallel London. Here, the expansive middle and upper classes, their wealth derived from global commerce, finance, and industry, displayed their affluence. Their homes were filled with manufactured luxuries, fine pottery, Sheffield cutlery, new synthetic dyes for clothing. This class demanded and created new spaces for leisure, museums, galleries, concert halls, and the department store. They traveled by private carriage or first-class compartments on the railways and the new underground lines that were stitching the metropolis together. Yet, they were connected to the world of Whitechapel by an army of domestic servants. In 1900, almost a third of British women, aged 15 to 20, were in service, forming the largest single occupational group in the country. The city was a physical map of the social order, from the desperate poverty of the East End to the burgeoning suburbs for the skilled working class, to the opulent centers of power in the West. As the decade drew to a close, London stood at a crossroads. The old laissez-faire approach to urban management was proving untenable. The year 1888 itself was a minor turning point in governance, seeing the establishment of the London County Council, a move to rationalize the chaotic patchwork of over 700 local authorities that had previously held sway. It was a nascent recognition that the problems of the modern city, sanitation, housing, transportation, required coordinated metropolitan solutions. Education had recently been made compulsory until age 10, driving a colossal effort toward near-universal literacy. The foundations of the modern welfare state were being laid, brick by bureaucratic brick. In response to the glaring failures of the unfettered market, now, let us pull back from the gaslight glow of 1888 and consider the echoes in our own time. The locations are often the same, but the realities are transformed. The fog that Monet painted is gone, banished by Clean Air Acts. The sweatshops of Whitechapel have been replaced, though the global dynamics of low-wage labor persist elsewhere. The horse-drawn omnibus has evolved into the red double-decker bus, and the Underground Railway has expanded into a digital-age network. The social reform movements born of Victorian injustice are the ancestors of our own ongoing debates about inequality, workers' rights, and urban livability. We still grapple with the fundamental questions the Victorians faced: how to balance economic dynamism with social cohesion, and how to manage the relentless churn of technological change. Our journey ends here, on the threshold between then and now. We have seen London 1888 not as a static painting, but as a dynamic, straining organism, brutal, magnificent, inventive, and cruel. It was a city that created unimaginable wealth and tolerated profound suffering, that championed moral rectitude while overlooking desperate poverty. By reconstructing it, we do not seek nostalgia. We seek understanding. We see in its struggles the origins of our modern world, and in its complexities, a mirror for our own. The past is not a foreign country. It is the foundation upon which we stand. If you could request a walk through another city at another moment of profound change, where and when would you choose to go? the conversation across time continues.